Donald Trump has been campaigning for president for 9 years. This is about the point in their runs when Barney Miller and Seinfeld ended their TV runs, and thus people still enjoy those shows. Trump needs to recognize this TV show, whatever the hell it is called, has run its course. For this reason, it has created some jump the shark moments. One of these is this instance during the debate. Trump referred to one of the Biden-Harris policy points as run, spot, run, which coincidentally is now the Trump campaign's new slogan, with the story of immigrants eating dogs and cats is being discussed on the news.
Oh.
Much has been made of the now disproven Trump claim, but the full impact of the on-the-spot reaction to such a claim can be seen in this video of a debate watch party with Harris voters in Pennsylvania.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people and it's a shame.
I love that they just roared. And I mean, the guys in the back were like over on their stomachs. Like, it's just because that's how ridiculous it sounds.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the visual segment of that. You can see the video on YouTube, but those kids, and I think that they were either in another room or in a separate part of like wherever they were watching, or maybe it was a different party altogether, but they acted like that oh snap gif have that people posted is basically what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
They're eating the dogs.
Well, yeah. And yeah, I love all that. He never sounds like a New Yorker until he said that. The dogs.
The dogs.
Eating the
dogs. When he says human and huge, then he sounds like a New Yorker.
Yeah.
That's true. You're right. You're right.
But that's it.
He does his Mike Myers doing Liz Taylor. They're eating the dogs.
The dogs. And actually, I think he's from Jersey. So actually, some of this makes more sense when you put it in that context. Nothing against Jersey. I got friends in Jersey. So.
I was born in Jersey, so you were easy with it, so it's all right.
To say J.D. Vance is far detached from reality is an understatement. In fact, J.D. Vance looks like he's a fictional character created by an ad agency, and this election is just one long advertising campaign for Vitalis. Another theory is that he is so afraid of reality that he avoided the couch and just resorted to humping his teddy bear. In these excerpts from an interview with Dana Bash on CNN, J.D. Vance says the quiet part out loud by revealing the Trump-Vance campaign's true intention behind the now debunked Haitian immigrant story.
Senator, I have to go through several things that you just said. First of all, the Clark County Sheriff and the Ohio Department of Natural Resources reviewed 11 months of 911 calls. They only identified 2 instances of people alleging Haitians were taking geese out of parks. They found 0 evidence to substantiate those claims. Also, other evidence that you have talked about, even you've retweeted alleged evidence, are unsourced social media videos from a different city, apparently no connection to Haitians. And this is from a conservative activist who offered a $5,000 reward for such things. And then going just backly to the schools and the hospitals and so forth being overwhelmed, nobody is disputing that the town of Springfield, Ohio, needs help. But you're not just a bystander, you're the senator from Ohio. So instead of saying things that are wrong and actually causing the hospitals, the schools, the government buildings to be evacuated because of bomb threats, because of the cats and dogs thing, why not actually be constructive in helping to better integrate them into the community? Because there are a lot of employers there who say that the Haitian workers are helping fill jobs that they need desperately filled.
Dana, the evidence is the first-hand account of my constituents who are telling me that this happened. And by the way, I've been trying to talk about the problems in Springfield for months, and the American media ignored it. There was a congressional hearing just last week of angel moms who lost children because Kamala Harris let criminal migrants into this country who then murdered their children. The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
But it wasn't just a meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast.
What?
I didn't
That's
now.
it.
I didn't play the whole
Yeah.
Oh my
the whole segment,
God.
obviously. But what I cut out was that before every answer, he gave this really awkward, like 8-second pause. And
Right.
I was just expecting his eyes. They already look weird. I was just expecting those eyes to just have that Air 404 message or pop up like a blue screen.
Thank you for saying that, because I was noticing his pupils are so tiny. Like the little, what is that, right? What's the black part inside the colored part, on your eye? Because that's
Yeah.
the right. Like
That's
I'm
a
not
peop- that's
obviously
yeah.
I'm a comic, not a scientist, but
Right.
like it's so tiny. Hers look normal. I'm like,
You,
are his
you
lights
you
so
would
much?
know if you were a drug dealer. You know exactly what was going on.
He doesn't blink. He didn't blink but 3 times in that whole first opening thing. He's just staring the camera down with that smile. And I'm like, is this a snapshot, or is he breathing?
I
What's
think
happening?
that the pause is that he's semi-robotic, right? So
Right.
the pause is him powering up and powering down. And it takes a while when he has to come back up because
Right.
there's that beat in between. That's where he is.
But
Basically, but Gina, you're saying that JD Vance is running on Commodore 64. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Yeah.
So
Yes.
something like that.
Right.
Yes.
On a tape backup of a Commodore 64 program.
Yeah, and
But
he's
I want to let you guys know, though, when I say that we never landed on the moon, I only say that to bring to light that there's gluten in bread, and I need people to be aware of that. So that's why I say we never landed on the moon. I mean, that's why.
Oh, that's his reasoning. That's his circular reasoning. I have to create a story.
Right. We have to lie so that we can talk about something else.
Right. I mean, I do commend her, and I don't particularly care for her, but I do commend her for why don't you do a job? Right? Like you're the senator from Ohio, right? And the town put out an ad requesting immigrants, and the Haitians were like, okay, and then they go there, and now you accuse them and treat them badly.
Right. Yeah. And JD, I'm powerless. I've got to lie to get people to listen to me. I'm just
nobody listens to me. I'm such a white man, and nobody in this country listens to the white man.
First, it was my mom who never listened to me.
Right.
Then it was the couch who never listened to me.
That coach, we've been rough times, but one of the things that drives me is this here's what 2 things I'm going to say. First of all, part of the reason why this disinformation, I think, real talk, not funny, has permeated our culture the way that it has, is that I know people still believe in this country that they can't put it on TV if it's not true. And the FCC does not litigate like that, right. There were standards of broadcasting. Those have been weakened. And that happened during the Nixon administration when Roger Ailes was an advisor and wanted to start his, so people still though operate though that it must be true, otherwise they'd get sued. You can't say things that aren't true, otherwise you get sued. So I think that people, they're like, but it was on TV. And that's the fact that it got to TV, this crazy internet meme. And then also what JD Vance does very, very, very skilled. He'll say, well, no one is saying that this rumor is true. No one is saying that these cats and dogs are right. And he said, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yes, no one's right. No one's talking about it. And that's why, and no one was talking about it until I told you about it. They're like, yeah, but no one's saying that's happening. He's like, right. But my constituents are saying it's happening. And none of you were talking about it until I started talking about it. So even when you say it didn't happen or it didn't exist, he takes it and uses it as evidence that information is being suppressed by the media. And he's the champion of the real story.
Yeah.
Well, the follow-up to that should have been, so are you saying that your constituents are
batshit crazy.
Are they less than? Because if you know the story is untrue, but your constituents told you it is, and you then I guess they're just stupid. Like,
Well, this is the Republican way. I mean, part of Trump's campaign this cycle is just like in 2016, where he said immigrants are flooding the border, crime is going through the roof. And when pushed on it, Newt Gingrich at the time said, well, yeah, the crime rate is going down, but our constituents believe that it's going up. And in that case, we are going to go with what our constituents believe. And the same thing happened when Trump, was bad mouthing Milwaukee. When pressed on it, the Republican chair of the state of Wisconsin was asked, why is Trump talking like this about Milwaukee? He's like, well, he's talking about an issue about crime, and that crime, is on the rise. And they're like, but that's not true. Crime is down 23% in Milwaukee, and it's been going down, except for a little blip during the pandemic since 1993. And the Republican chair said, well, our constituents feel like crime is going up. And so that's why so for the Republicans, the deal is we don't push back on what people believe. We use it to our advantage.
well, and the other piece is, why isn't somebody stopping both of them and just asking the question, you have such a concern about immigrants, any concern about your spouse's families? Like,
right.
Both of them have married people who were not originally,
right.
I don't, no one brings that up, but
I think it's because no woman from this country wanted to be in a long-term relationship, to be fair.
Right.
Also, getting back to that video, if I'm Dana Bash, the follow-up question I'm going to ask is, this constituent complaint, did that come in the form of what sounded like a teenager trying to sound like an adult voice? And was there giggling in the background?
That's right.
Your refrigerator running?
how many words were misspelled? It's like, it's like,
yeah. When you say that the lack of evidence of something occurring is proof that it is occurring, we've stepped a little bit beyond. Yeah.
I do the same thing. I do the same thing about the number of listeners I have on this show.
That's right.
I want someone to go and get the mom and be like, he's always been a liar.
Right.
Learned it. Yeah, he's always been a little shit.
Right.
Tom Myers believes in the silent majority listeners. That's what he believes in.
I do.
Silent?
They're out there. They're out there.
They are.
Former Trump White House staffer Stephen Miller can best be summed up by a paraphrase of a George Carlin statement. Never underestimate the power of a stupid racist with a weird-shaped head.
Mm-hmm.
In this exchange with a reporter from a South American news network in the debate spin room, Stephen Miller realizes that legitimate news outlets don't buy his claims about a crime increase in this country being the responsibility of Venezuela.
All these criminal migrants that have been flooded in the country are going to be the first to get thrown out of here. I mean, you've seen case after case, these heartbreaking tragedies. Those ones are going to get found and deported first. And look at this Venezuelan gang. You have a Venezuelan gang that is taking over entire apartment buildings in Aurora, Colorado, and that's responsible, by the way, for some of the most heinous crimes that have happened all over the United States. The crime rate in Venezuela is down, I believe, a little bit over 60% over the last several years.
Are you trusting the official figures from the Venezuelan dictatorship?
Let's put it this way. If you're a dictator of a poor country with a high crime rate, wouldn't you send your criminals to our open border?
That wasn't my question. Are you trusting the figures of the dictatorships? Those are Maduro numbers.
I am believing that it is in the interest of a criminal dictator to let his criminals out of their jails and come to our country.
Do you have numbers, real numbers, not dictatorship numbers?
The Venezuelan gangs that have, you've seen the CCTV footage. I have a question. Who do you think? Answer me this.
My family is from Venezuela. I know very well the situation of Caracas and many other cities.
Right, tell me, who were the people with the high-powered rifles in the hallway of that apartment building? Who were they?
They were gangsters from Venezuela.
Right. No American community.
But I was asking to you about figures, numbers,
what I'm
facts.
saying to you is the facts are the dead bodies. The facts are.
You said that Caracas has a lowest crime rate than the USA.
The facts are the mutilated bodies. The facts are the people in the morgues that are dead.
I was asking you about Caracas and the numbers in Caracas. Are you trusting the numbers of the dictatorship
I am trusting the fact that Kamala Harris is letting illegal immigrants into this country who are raping and murdering children.
I had been very respectful. Why are you yelling?
Children are being raped and murdered.
I was just asking for figures, and you have not replied to me about those figures.
Murdered. Do you know who Kayla Hamilton is?
Do you trust the numbers of Nicolas Maduro? I'm asking again.
I trust a ruthless dictator will empty his prisons and send their criminals to our country.
So you trust his numbers?
The most dangerous gang in Venezuela is
you
now
trust Nicolas Maduro?
I trust that he does not want his criminals to be...
You believe in his numbers?
I believe he's sending his criminals to our country.
And do you think that the crime rate in Venezuela have decreased?
Do you not believe the law enforcement reports of Venezuelan gangs in this country?
I was asking for the Venezuelan government figures, not the figures here.
Are Venezuelan gangs in this country or not? Yes or no?
What are the figures that you say to say that in Caracas the number is lower than in the USA?
Are Venezuelan gangs in this country or not?
So you don't have numbers.
You know who has numbers? The Department of Homeland Security. You can ask Mayorkas for numbers. You can ask the Director Ray for the numbers.
Sir,
I'm telling you.
You said that in Venezuela the crime rate is lower than the USA.
Yes, because
what are your numbers? That's my question.
Because the criminals are here now.
Those are Maduro's numbers.
I can tell you again that Border Patrol agents are encountering thousands
you trust
of
Maduro numbers?
I trust the border agents in our country.
But they are not saying that Caracas has a lower crime rate.
Children are dead, and you are wasting my time.
No, I am not wasting your time. I'm asking for facts as a journalist.
Do you have any remorse for the dead children? Do you care at all about the dead children?
Absolutely.
Then that's what I want to leave you with.
Meanwhile, a lot of migrants who were separated from their kids during the Trump years are hearing Stephen Miller saying he wants people to feel remorse for the children. They're watching that and saying, "You flip-flopped on this issue big time."
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is he's like, well, if you don't believe the numbers of Venezuelan gangs, talk to the Department of Justice, talk to Mayorkas. These are the same people who are telling them that crime is actually on a downward trajectory. And Trump says, oh, you can't believe those numbers. Those are made up. So it's like, okay, you'll believe the numbers that you like, but you won't believe the numbers that you don't like. And this week, I don't know if you've seen this thing. This week, Stephen Miller's new thing is that Tyson's Food is hiring undocumented workers and firing American workers. He says they hired 40,000 undocumented workers. That's 1/3 of the domestic workers for Tyson's Food. So they hired 1/3 of their workforce. Nobody noticed.
And also, somebody's hiring? That's awesome. That's news. I mean, that's the bigger news, right?
It is. Well, and I watched this, they were talking on PBS about, they went and interviewed this man who owns a metal, like what do you call it? Like fabrication.
Yeah.
Thank you. And he is employing right now 30 Haitian immigrants. And they were like, well, what's your experience been? And he's like, I wish I had a lot more. They come on time. Right. They don't ask for time off. They don't have drug problems. They stay at their machines. They come in when they're scheduled. Yeah. And he said, I've got to say, it's been a real breath of fresh air.
Well, they do eat a few cats, but besides that,
I mean, a person's got to eat, right?
Well, it was the fact that this, and it was this white guy who's like, he's like, we noticed a few years ago that some of the names in our hiring pool were starting to change, and we had a few and a few more, and now we're 30, and he's like, I would be more than happy to pay them all and fire all the white people. So maybe people are just not they're saying that they're fighting for justice, but really they're fighting their own demons. Like the reason why your life didn't work out well, there might be a through line that you are somehow accountable for that.
Right. And I think
government
that
doesn't owe you a good life. Which
don't
always
extend this thought that they have to everybody, right? It's a very, so he's concerned, he wants us to believe he's concerned about the deaths of some children, but we have deaths, sadly, of children all the time, particularly in school. I'm a mom, and anytime something happens in a school, it's scary because you don't know, right? So there's just this sort of fake hysteria that I can't even find a way to believe, right? I cannot believe this man. And he knows it too, because he got so obstinate with that guy. And the guy, I love that guy. He was like, right here, stayed right there. Right?
When someone loses when they lose it in an argument, that's when you win. That's how you win a debate. That is how you win. And also, too, in the replay, everybody go back and look at the poor girl who has to hold the Miller sign. Her face.
I just wish she'd walk off so I could stop holding this damn sign.
And she's like, and the other girl's got the Trump Vance, like little three in the 3-ring binder. That seems a little antiquated as well. There's not an iPad. It's just a binder.
Like a binder, not a phone.
That's right. We have binders full of women. I forget.
That's right.
I forgot about that line. We have binders full of women.
Well, the binders
binders.
The women in the binders were all of these women that the migrants killed. Don't you get what they're trying to do with that binder?
That's right.
We didn't get everything we wanted. We gave binders to women.
Right.
You, sir, don't you care about the children that are having to hold these signs?
Right. And
then the poor children.
Yeah. And then he's yelling at the guy saying, don't you feel remorse for the dead children? No, I don't. I didn't kill them. Why would I feel remorse? That's the wrong word. I think he meant empathy. I think that you should look up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Additionally, Stephen Miller may have been taken aback because the logo on that guy's microphone didn't say ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN. It was
Telemundo, right?
It was there was Telemundo, and then there was NTN 24, which is specifically based in South America. I think its headquarters is in Colombia, but they cover news in Venezuela, other countries there as well. So he just thought, okay, this isn't one of the news networks I've been told were evil. And then he was like, oh, fuck, what did I just get into?
Yeah, he's like, this is going to be an easy one. This is going to be easy.
Yeah, you can see it on the girl's face, too. Like, we stopped wrong. Am I going to hear about this? Moving on. Well, let's go.
He's probably like, no one's going to see this. You're from Caracas. Right?
Yeah.